everything goes okay. So to my people in the Zoom room, welcome again. My name is Sarah Dean. I'm the executive director here at South Bay Musical Theater. Everybody who's watching on YouTube, hi, I'm glad that you're here. Everybody that's in the house at the Zoom, we're glad that you're here. Welcome. You guys, our community has grown so much using this virtual stage, and we are thrilled to be presenting Dracula to you tonight. We have a fabulous, talented cast, many of whom are new to us, and we're so grateful that they stepped out and joined us. People are joining in from not only locally, but even internationally, and it is a thrill and an honor for you to join us tonight. Just a couple quick reminders. Those of you that are in the Zoom, please take a moment to mute yourself and turn off your video camera. Thanks, everybody has done that great job so far. I do recommend viewing this in gallery mode up in the top right corner of your screen. And then if you would, the best viewing option is to hide all non-video participants. So if you go down to your start on the left side and you hit that little tiny up arrow right next to it, that will bring up your video settings. And if you choose video settings, right in the middle there, you should be an option to choose hide non-video participants. And that is the best way that'll get you the way that we have directed the show to be presented. We are thrilled that you are here. Without further ado, I hope the cast is ready because we are getting ready to start. Thank you. And we will talk to you soon. I'm going to turn it over to Mitch and the cast of Dracula.
Good evening and welcome. Our story begins at Castle Dracula, Borgo Pass, Transylvania in the present day. It is late in the afternoon. We are in the furnished room where the tapestry has rotted away in rags and the dinner service on the table is festooned with cobwebs. A shaft of late afternoon light slants through a hole somewhere in the roof far overhead. There's a fumbling at the heavy doors.
It's stuck.
Told ya.
Let's get out of here.
It's not locked, just rusted shut. Don't just stand there, give me a hand.
One of the doors yields open to the shoves of two young men. The dust falls from the long, unused door as they cautiously step inside. A young woman timidly follows them.
Cool.
Okay, we've seen it. Now let's go before it gets dark.
Give us a chance to look around first. This place isn't even on the map.
Maybe this is the real Castle Dracula.
We saw Castle Dracula at Brishov.
And we saw another one at Arjish.
They tell tourists that every castle in Romania is Castle Dracula.
And if we were still with the tour group, we'd be having a nice hot dinner in a comfortable hotel instead of this dump.
Stand over there so I can get a picture.
Mitch and Chelsea back toward a pile of rubble near the stairs.
That's good. Right there.
Just as Skip shoots a picture, Chelsea trips, screams, and falls over. Mitch picks up what she tripped over. A human skull.
I see you found the last person to come in here.
That is it! I'll see you back in Bistritz.
She heads toward the door.
It's a long walk back there.
Alone. In the dark.
Chelsea stops at the door.
Oh, let's see what's up there.
Skip runs up the stairs, followed closely by Mitch. Chelsea reluctantly follows. They enter the furnished room and look around.
Your dinner is served, miss.
He gestures to the cobweb dinner service. Chelsea is not amused. She looks around.
I don't understand why there's still furniture and stuff in here. It should have all been stolen years ago.
Unless everybody's afraid to come in here.
Chelsea finds a small book.
Look at this.
She opens it and reads.
The Journal of Jonathan Harker.
It's in English?
Chelsea turns several pages.
4 May, 1897?
1897?
As it grew dark, the mountains seemed to come nearer to us on each side and to frown down upon us. We were entering Borgo Pass. I saw the other passengers crossing themselves or signing against the evil eye. The coach stopped at the crossroad and the driver began to entreat me to go on to Bukovina.
During this narrative, Chelsea's voice will blend into and be replaced by the voice of Jonathan Harker.
While he was speaking, the horses began to neigh and plunge wildly. Then, amongst the screams of the passengers, a carriage with four black horses overtook us and drew up beside the coach.
They were driven by a tall man with a great black hat, which hid his face from us. He said to our driver, "You are early tonight, my friend." Our driver tried to stammer that it was I who was in a hurry, but the strange driver was not deceived. He smiled, and the lamplight fell on a hard-looking mouth with very sharp teeth. My luggage was passed across, and the driver helped me in the carriage with a grip of steel. Without a word, he shook the reins, and we swept into the darkness of the pass.
May 5th, 1897 at Castle Dracula. It is late at night, and for the past half hour, wolves have been howling. First one, then another answers. Then gradually more join in. A heavy wooden door fills a cobweb-shrouded arch. Massive stairs flanked by stone griffins rise from the rubble-strewn floor. Grisly tapestry depicting the exploits of Vlad Dracula line the walls. The sound of a heavy iron door knocker echoes through the room. Again it sounds, and a light appears on the stairs. A lamp carried by a tall, gaunt old man. He is clad in black, with no color to him at all. He descends the stairs with a stride that belies his apparent accumulation of years, and opens the great door.
Welcome to my house, Mr. Harker. Enter freely and of your own will.
Harker enters. Dracula shakes his hand.
Count Dracula?
I am Dracula. Come in. The night air is chill, and you must need to eat and rest.
Dracula easily picks up Harker's suitcase.
Oh, I can carry that myself.
Nonsense. You are my guest. The hour is late and my servants are not available, but I've had a room and a meal prepared for you in a more hospitable part of the castle.
I can see why you've decided to move to England.
This dwelling is old and has many memories, but has become too difficult to maintain.
They ascend the stairs to a small room where an elegant dinner service is arrayed on a table, and a fire burns cheerfully in a fireplace. Dracula leads Harker into the room and deposits his luggage. Harker removes his coat and produces a letter, which he hands to Dracula.
This is from Mr. Hawkins.
Thank you. Please be seated and enjoy your meal.
Will you join me?
No, I dined earlier. You come highly recommended by Mr. Hawkins.
I've brought all the necessary papers to conclude the transaction. I believe you'll find everything in order.
Excellent. Now tell me of your journey, Mr. Harker. I seldom travel outside the limits of my own land.
There isn't really much to tell until I arrived in your beautiful country. I reached Bucharest 2 days ago by train, then from there to Bistritz by coach. The citizens of that charming little community reacted most oddly when they learned of my destination.
This is a very old land, steeped in superstition.
An old peasant woman at the inn was so distressed I had to let her put this around my neck.
Harker pulls a cross out from under his coat. Dracula averts his eyes from it.
It is the eve of St. George's Day. On this night, all things are evil and supposed to be about. Are you going to continue to wear that now that you are here?
No, of course not.
He hangs it up with his hat and overcoat.
That must be why the coachman drove his horses so hard to get through Borgo Pass. They almost got me there ahead of your carriage.
Here, superstition rules. In the outside world, the 20th century is about to dawn, but in this place, you can see why I wish to go to England.
You certainly have enough wolves around here. I could even see some following your carriage.
Yes, listen. The children of the night. What music they make.
Isn't it dangerous to have so many nearby?
Oh, do not worry. They never harmed me. In fact, I think I shall miss them.
If you get homesick, they have wolves in the zoological gardens near your new house.
Really? You must tell me all about my new estate.
The house is called Carfax. In all, there are some 20 acres surrounded by a high stone wall. As we warned you, the house is in considerable disrepair.
I require an old house. I am of an old family, and to live in a new house would kill me. I am no longer young. The walls of my castle are broken, the shadows are many, and the wind breathes cold through the broken battlements. I love the darkness and would prefer to be alone with my memories.
Then you should feel at home in Carfax. The only other nearby building is a private sanitarium run by Dr. Seward. My fiancé works there, and that was how I happened to find Carfax for you. Ouch.
Harker has accidentally cut himself with his knife. Dracula approaches menacingly, then checks himself.
Now, take care of how you cut yourself. It can be more dangerous than you think in this country.
It's nothing. Very clumsy of me.
Blood should not be shed without cause. Within these veins flows the blood of Attila the Hun. Is it any wonder that when the Turks poured their thousands across our frontiers, we drove them back? When other flags were falling before the crescent, who was it but the Dracula who crossed the Danube and defeated the Turk on his own ground? Even when beaten back, he came again to the field until he would return alone from battle. Only he could triumph. Those days are gone now. This land that we fought for is dying, and I must move on. But I must be boring you with the stories of my forgotten triumphs.
Not at all. Look, the bleeding has stopped.
It is very late, and you will need your sleep. If you will find for me the papers I must sign, I shall leave you alone.
Certainly, Count.
He produces several documents from his briefcase and gives them to Dracula.
I shall read these over, and tomorrow we will complete the transaction. Now I have a small matter to attend to. My house is yours, though for your own safety there are doors which remain locked.
I understand.
Good night then, Mr. Harker, and sleep well.
Dracula exits. Harker looks around his room, then takes out his journal to make a new entry.
Hey. Last I have met Count Dracula.
He pauses, trying to find the right words to describe his host. He looks around the room, then stops to listen. There are soft whispering voices punctuated by laughter. Harker rises and opens the door. One voice rises above the other whisperings.
Mr. Harker, help me. Please help me.
Harker follows the voice down to the entry hall. As he stands there alone, a sinister mist creeps across the floor toward him from behind. A beautiful, pale woman dressed elegantly, but a few centuries out of date, glides out of the mist toward him.
Mr. Harker.
Who are you?
Shh. He'll hear you.
Who will? Count Dracula?
He sees and hears everything. You must help me. I'm a prisoner here.
Tell me what's wrong.
There is no time. You are in danger. You must help me to get away before he imprisons you too.
Look, whatever you may think, I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding and...
Oh. You must listen. You don't know who he is. Why everyone is afraid to come here.
I have business with the Count. I can't just assume...
You fool! He is evil. How can I convince you? Would you like to see the scars? You can't imagine the things he does to me. Please, help me.
She turns back toward him and holds him closer.
We can escape. Now, before anyone finds us, I know you can save me.
She gently caresses him, then closes in and kisses him. Her mouth works its way down to his neck. She pulls her head back and bares fangs to bite him when two more women enter. Despite their attire, they are still beautiful and horrifyingly seductive.
You heard the master.
You always have to be first.
Get away. He's mine.
The two surround them, pulling at Harker.
Only if you can keep him.
He is young and strong. There are kisses enough for all of us.
It has been such a very long time.
Keep away from him. Come with me, Mr. Harker.
They are all pulling at him covetously.
Don't believe her. She wants you for herself.
They caress him hungrily as Dracula returns.
How dare you touch him? Any of you.
Dracula leaps down the stairs and yanks the two women away from Harker. He throws him sprawling across the floor, turns and holds the pale woman by the throat.
This man belongs to me.
You always keep the best for yourself.
You know my plans.
Let us have him. You never love us anymore.
You never loved anyone.
Dracula walks to each of them, touching them.
I have loved. You yourselves know it, no? Is it not so?
What is to become of us?
You are leaving us.
Promise you that when I am done with him, you may have him.
Are we to have nothing then tonight?
Dracula picks up a sack he brought into the room. Something is squirming within it. We hear crying of a baby. The woman laughs soullessly as they seize the sack and Echo fighting over it. Harker regains his senses and retreats as the baby's cries fade into the gloom.
What's the matter, Mr. Harker?
Harker runs to the front door and tries in vain to open it.
Have I been so inhospitable that you wish to leave me so soon?
What do you intend to do with me?
Do with you? My dear Harker, you are my guest.
Your prisoner.
You are free to leave at any time, Mr. Harker.
Then open the door.
It's very late. You have had a bad dream, and the best thing for you to do is to go up to bed.
I said open the door.
So be it. Come. Not a minute shall you remain in my house against your will.
Dracula easily throws back the bolt and opens the door. Harker suspiciously approaches it. Suddenly, a snarling wolf lunges into the opening, biting at him. Harker jumps back into the hall.
More? For God's sake, close it!
For God's sake, Mr. Harker?
Dracula laughs and slams the door.
Since you choose to continue to enjoy my hospitality, you will write 3 letters. First, to Mr. Hawkins, dated June 12th, saying that our work is nearly complete, and you will leave in a few days. Second, to your fiancé, dated June 19th, stating that you will leave next morning. And third, to Mr. Hawkins, dated June 29th, stating that you have arrived at Bistritz.
Never.
There are alternatives.
The 3 women appear at the top of the stairs, laughing and licking their blood-stained fingers and lips.
As long as you remain under my protection, no harm will come to you.
Harker sinks to his knees as the women's laughter echoes into the darkness.
12th of June. Tonight, I heard a sound in the courtyard below my window. I looked out on a woman far below. She saw me and shouted, "Monster, give me my child." She threw herself forward, and though I could no longer see her, I could hear her beating her hands against the door. From the tower above me, I heard the Count's voice. In a moment, it was answered from far and wide by the howling of wolves. Before long, a pack of them streamed through the gateway. There was no outcry from the woman, only the frenzied feeding of the wolves. I could not pity her, for I knew she had found her lost child.
End of scene 1. We entered Dr. Seward's office in Purfleet. It is July 26th in the evening. This is a sanitarium next to Carfax, and Dracula's crumble estate can be seen through French doors. It is a warm, comfortable room with a fireplace, couch, desk, and comfortable chairs. Lucy Westenra sits at the desk transcribing her employer's notes for the day, which are on a cylinder phonograph.
The case of Renfield grows more interesting. He was extremely restless all last night and slept only after sunup. When he awoke around noon, he immediately began catching flies. Some he ate, and others he has begun keeping in jars. His actions show more definite purpose than he has ever exhibited before.
Lucy switches off and starts typing. Renfield creeps up to the French doors and peers inside. He slips inside and sneaks up on Lucy. Lucy sees Renfield and hits an alarm button.
What is it you want, Mr. Renfield?
I must see Dr. Seward.
How did you get out of your room?
They haven't made doors, nor windows, nor walls that can keep me in or out.
You can't keep doing this.
But I need to see Dr. Seward, and they won't let me.
Dr. Seward is very busy. Why don't you tell me what you want?
It's personal. I can only tell Dr. Seward.
He advances toward her, seemingly about to pounce. Lucy backs away.
Let's go quietly back to your room and I'll make certain Dr. Seward comes to see you.
Renfield pounces, but not on Lucy, on a spider. He catches it and holds it out to Lucy.
Oh, you're a nice big fat juicy one, aren't you? Oh, this isn't your spider, is it, Miss Westenra?
No, it isn't.
Dr. Seward and Mrs. Morse enter through the front door. Arthur sneaks up on Renfield through the French doors.
Renfield, you again.
Come along, back to your room.
See my new spider, Mrs. Morris?
He holds it up to her face. She screams and jumps back.
Oh. Put that down, Renfield. Let it go.
No!
Then what do you intend to do with it?
I'm going to eat it, of course. Taking life gives me strength.
As he lifts the spider to his mouth, Arthur grabs him from behind.
Come on, drop it, Renfield.
Don't, you can't make me.
Seward and Mrs. Morse join the struggle.
Let it go.
Don't take my spider. I must talk to you, Dr. Seward.
Let the spider go and we'll talk.
Renfield abruptly stops struggling.
Promise?
I promise.
Renfield holds out the spider and drops it. He waves goodbye to it.
Goodbye.
Mrs. Morris backs away from the spider.
Now what do you want to talk about?
I want a favor.
We told you to get rid of all of your flies first.
But I did. They're all gone.
What did you do with them?
I fed them to my spiders.
And what will you do with the spiders?
You're doing experiments with mice, Mr. Holmwood. Give me a mouse. I'll feed it and take good care of it.
We'll see. Go back to your room and I'll think about it.
Promise?
I promise. We're going to give you a better room too. Arthur, put him in number 11.
Only if I can keep my spiders.
You can keep your spiders if you behave.
I will. Come on then. Let's go see my new room. Oh, Mrs. Morris.
Renfield brings up his other hand, which has remained closed the whole time.
Yes.
Here's one you didn't get.
Renfield shows her another spider, then quickly pops it to his mouth before anyone can stop him.
Renfield!
Let's go!
He and Arthur exit.
Disgusting creature.
Mrs. Morris exits.
He didn't hurt you, did he?
No, just scared me.
Mina enters with an armload of files.
Renfield out again?
We're putting him in maximum security this time.
Finally. I thought we'd never get the rest settled down. I don't know what's come over them today. See?
Well, I can see we won't be getting much sleep tonight.
Full moon.
I had nightmares last night about that awful ship that ran aground in the harbor. I kept seeing that captain lashed dead to the wheel. The look on his face.
Told you to stay here. Reminds me, my old friend Van Helsing is due in from Amsterdam later tonight to do the autopsy. We have to meet him at the station.
Why did you call him in?
He likes mysteries, and I can't figure out what happened on that ship.
I'll get a room ready for him. With or without padding?
Sometimes I'm not sure which side of the door he belongs on either.
Oh, Mina, there's a letter for you.
Is it from
Jonathan?
Oh, give it here.
Oh, now, where did I put it? Oh, can I borrow your white dress tonight?
Yes, anything. Where's the letter?
Here it is.
Mina snatches it away from her and reads it. She turns it over, surprised that it's so short.
What does it say?
That's all? This is all he wrote?
What?
He says his work at Castle Dracula is finished and he's leaving the next day.
Good.
But it's dated 5 weeks ago.
Don't worry. He said the roads were bad, the trains were always breaking down, and nobody cares.
What if it's something serious?
He also said the women were ugly.
Arthur returns.
You gonna get ready?
I still have to finish transcribing Dr. Seward's notes.
Oh, is that Renfield?
Yes.
Let it go. It's obsolete now anyways.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll be ready before you are, Arthur.
We'll see about that.
Where's the dress?
In my closet.
Thanks.
Lucy exits.
Better hurry, she's fast.
I know she is.
He hurries out. Mina paces restlessly.
You're worried about Jonathan, aren't you?
Is it so obvious?
Jonathan can take care of himself. He'll get here. Give him time for one last fling on the continent before settling down to married life. Besides, I'm not so anxious to lose you.
And what makes you think I'll give up my career just because I'm getting married?
Mrs. Morris knocks and enters.
Excuse me, Miss Murray. There are 2 men here about Carfax?
Send them in.
They're just common laborers.
I'll see them.
Mrs. Morris shows in Snelling and Bloxham.
Mr. Thomas Snelling and Mr. Samuel Bloxham.
Mrs. Morris exits.
Excuse us, miss.
Oh, we got a delivery for the old house over there.
They said we was to get the keys from you.
I have them. What about Mr. Harker?
Mr. Harker, ma'am?
Didn't he make the arrangements?
Don't know no Mr. Harker, ma'am.
We just got hired all a big bunch of wooden boxes over there from the Demeter.
The Demeter?
It gives me the willies too, but they're paying to get us on that ship.
Paying plenty. So, if we could just have the keys, we'd like to get it all over there before dark.
Bloxham has discovered the phonograph and while looking at it, switches it on. Seward comes over and shuts it off.
The keys? Thank you, ma'am.
He takes them out of Mina's hand.
Come on, Sam.
As they're leaving, Snelling hits Bloxham and leaves a little cloud of dust.
Blimey, I could use a drink.
They're gone. Seward goes to Mina.
Jonathan!
I've seen the passenger list. Jonathan wasn't on that ship.
If I have to wait for news much longer, you'll have to lock me up with Renfield. Listen. What's that?
Must be the zoo. Something's got them upset too.
Mrs. Morris knocks again. Seward is getting a little irritated.
Now what?
Visitor, Dr. Seward. It's the new neighbor, Count.
She turns and runs into him. Dracula is younger now. The hair is black with some gray.
Dracula.
He is dressed as if traveling, takes off his cape, and hands them to the flummoxed Mrs. Morris, who exits.
I'm pleased to make your acquaintance, Dr. Seward. And you must be Miss Murray. I recognize you from the photograph my friend Jonathan Harker takes with him. It does not do you justice.
Thank you, Count. Where is Jonathan?
Has he not yet returned?
No.
Well. But do not fret. He chose to return the landward way, while I took ship because of my furnishings. I was blessed with unusually favorable winds and arrived early.
Too favorable, perhaps, for the Demeter.
Yes, some of my less important possessions were on that ship. I've been there salvaging what I could all day.
We were there yesterday. It was horrible.
The crew washed overboard in the storm, the captain dead at the wheel. Unfortunate, perhaps, but there are more horrible things happening every day.
Are you staying in Whitby, Count?
No, I'm moving in immediately.
The old place isn't fit to live in.
Appearances can be deceiving. Carfax suits my needs very well.
But still, it may be lonely for you in that dreary old place. You're welcome to visit here any time.
I thank you. There are no ties to make me lonely for my own country. The last of my family and friends are buried. Now I have new friends in a country teeming with life. I shall be very happy here.
While we're waiting for Jonathan, you must let me show you around London.
I would be honored. Music, laughter. It has been many years since I've heard such sounds.
Lucy races in with Arthur in pursuit.
Oh, no, you don't.
Beat you.
She stops when she sees Dracula.
Oh, excuse me.
Count Dracula, Lucy Westenra, and Dr. Seward's assistant, Arthur Holmwood.
Holmwood, Miss Westenra. English women are all so delightful. I regret having waited so long to move here.
Thank you. Oh, it's you. You're here. How do you like England? Forgive me, I'm out of breath and a little disorganized.
I too am a little disorganized, but with such neighbors, I can see I will not be bored.
And we're just the staff. Wait until you see some of the patients.
Only a few of them are dangerous, and we keep them securely locked up.
My country, the insane, are not so fortunate. You must be very proud of your work.
What? Well, I hadn't really thought of it that way. I've always been so caught up in the sheer work of it all.
Your English is really very good.
Oh, is it? All from books. Through them, I've come to know your great England. Now I long to go through the crowded streets of London, to be in the midst of the rush of humanity, to share its life, its change, its death. But I hope you will teach me the finer points of your language. In my own land, I was master, but here I am a stranger, and a stranger in a strange land is no one.
If you'll excuse us, we were just on our way out.
Naturally. I look forward to seeing you again, Miss Westenra.
Bye.
She and Arthur exit.
Such an interesting young lady. So full of life. I'm lucky to find such neighbors as you.
You must see us again when you are settled in.
Thank you. Now I still have business to attend to elsewhere. Perhaps when we meet again, your Mr. Harker will have returned. I know you are very much on his mind.
Good evening, Count.
A good night to you, Miss Marie. Dr. Seward?
Count?
Dracula exits. Mina rubs her arms as if chilled.
Want me to build up the fire?
No, just a little chill. It's gone now.
End of scene 2. July 27th, 3 a.m. The room is dark in Seward's office, but moonlight comes in through the French doors. In the moonlight, something becomes visible. A large bat with red eyes flaps to the glass and taps against it. A voice whispers through the room.
Lucy. Lucy.
Lucy walks down the stairs as if sleepwalking. She goes to the French doors. The bat has disappeared in a cloud of mist, but the red eyes still glow through it.
Come to me, Lucy.
She unlocks the doors and swings them open. The mist is coalescing into a dark form. Now Lucy reclines on the couch. The mist subsides. The dark form is Dracula, and he steps into the room. He goes to the couch and touches Lucy. She reaches up and kisses him. Dracula bends over her and moves down to her throat. Lucy gives a little cry, and her feet twitch once. Dracula envelops her with his cape. End of scene 3. Back in Seward's office, it is 7 a.m. The room is almost dark, lit only by light coming in through the open curtains. One of the French doors is ajar. A white form is sprawled across the couch. It is Lucy, apparently asleep, but looking terribly pale and drawn. Seward and Van Helsing enter.
I'm glad I didn't wait to perform the autopsy. This could be very serious.
Something contagious?
Very.
Oh, wait a moment. We left the outside doors open.
Seward sees Lucy and goes to her.
What have we here?
Your Miss Lucy seems to have fallen asleep on the couch.
Lucy, come on, girl. Wake up.
He turns her head so that we can see 2 streams of dried blood on her throat.
Mein Gott!
Oh, what's that?
Van Helsing quickly runs around and feels for her pulse.
She is alive, barely. There's not a moment to lose. Get blankets, build up the fire. We must keep her warm.
Shouldn't we move her to her room?
No, we leave her here. We don't risk the shock.
What's happened to her? How did she get those wounds?
I shall explain later. For now, do as I say.
Seward blows into a speaking tube and listens for an answer.
Mina, now listen carefully. Get Arthur and Mrs. Morris. Lucy's had an accident. Bring blankets, hot water, and antiseptic to the study.
He caps the tube, closes the French doors, and gets a fire going.
It has started already. And so close to us, she must have a transfusion of blood.
Can we risk it on Lucy?
What choice do we have? We've done tests on all the staff. We found their different blood groupings.
But it's only theory.
If we give her blood, she may die. But if we don't, she certainly will. Get the files. Find out who we can use for a donor.
Arthur bursts in.
What's wrong? Is she hurt?
Get the files on the blood transfusion experiments.
For Lucy?
Yes.
There's no doubt she and I are the same type.
Are you absolutely certain?
As certain as you are.
Van Helsing is now rummaging through his bag and finds a stethoscope.
Then, can you find equipment to make a transfusion?
Back as soon as I can. Take care of her.
Arthur runs off. Van Helsing listens for Lucy's heartbeat. Seward paces a couple times, then goes to the door.
Mrs. Morris!
He yells practically into her face. Mina is right behind with blankets and a tray with antiseptic. Mrs. Morris has a pan of water.
No need to wake the whole place, Doctor. I'm here.
I've got blankets. How did she get down here? What's the matter with her?
Quiet. I cannot hear. Her heart is beating so fast I can hardly keep track of it.
Cover her. Keep her warm.
There's blood on her neck.
How could she have lost that much blood through those two little wounds?
And they're right on the jugular vein.
They're not at all wholesome looking.
It looks as if she's been bitten.
They get her covered. Mina and Mrs. Morris wash the wounds on Lucy's neck. Seward and Van Helsing take off their coats and roll up their sleeves.
Try to wake her.
Mina starts to rub Lucy's wrists.
Lucy? Lucy, wake up.
No. Want to sleep.
Stay awake, Lucy. Talk to me.
So tired.
Tell me what happened. How did you get down here?
His red eyes.
What?
Red eyes?
Poor thing's delirious.
Arthur?
Arthur will be here in a minute.
No.
Stay awake, Lucy. Keep talking.
No.
Arthur returns with a tray of equipment.
How is she?
Dad, we must hurry.
He swabs her arm off with antiseptic. Arthur's already rolling up his sleeves.
Jack, bring that chair over here. Are you ready, Mr. Holmwood?
Arthur swabs off his own arm. Van Helsing finds a piece of surgical tubing from the tray.
I'll give my last drop of blood for her.
Oh, I don't ask so much as that. Not the last drop. You will make a fist, please?
Van Helsing wraps the tubing around his arm, finds a vein, and gets a needle.
Young man, this will hurt you far more than it will me.
He sticks in the needle and gets the tubing attached to it.
Okay, tape this down.
Seward tapes the tube to Arthur's arm while Van Helsing gets a needle to Lucy's arm. It is connected to another tube. Both tubes then connect to valves on either side of a large syringe.
Make sure you get the air out.
Van Helsing loosens the tubing around Arthur's arm and makes the final preparations.
That is it. Miss Murray, will you hold my watch in front where I can see it? Mrs. Morris, I want you to count the number of plunger strokes.
Van Helsing begins the transfusion, first drawing blood from Arthur, then closing the valve on his side, opening Lucy's and pumping it into her. The process repeats continuously, and Mrs. Morris counts softly.
That is good. Jack, keep checking her heartbeat.
Professor Van Helsing, do you know how this happened to her?
I do. It is the thing that I came here to England to investigate.
It's the same thing from the ship.
Almost certainly. And it will spread unless we find the source.
It's contagious?
Yes, although not in the ordinary sense. We're all quite safe at the moment.
For God's sake, tell us what we're dealing with.
I must know.
This is very difficult. I need absolute proof first. Without it, you will not believe me. If our young lady recovers properly, then it may be better if you never know the cause.
And if she dies?
You must prepare yourselves for a battle with an enemy as deadly as any plague that ever ravaged Europe.
End of scene 4. That evening in Seward's office, Lucy is peacefully asleep on the couch. Arthur sits in a chair by the fire reading a newspaper. Lucy wakes up.
What time is it?
7:30. How do you feel?
Like I could sleep for another 900 years. How about you?
Oh, I feel like joining you.
Not quite sure how to take that. What's new and exciting in the Whitby Gazette?
Berserker the Wolf escapes from the zoological gardens.
That's all I need. Another wolf on the loose. How about taking me up to my room before he comes huffing and puffing to our door?
Tempting, but no.
What do you mean, no?
And Helsing wants to keep you here where he can keep an eye on you. You must be feeling better, and that's wonderful, but the old Dutchman is afraid that what happened to you last night might happen again.
Oh.
She pulls the blankets tighter.
Can't you remember?
No. It was like one of those horrible dreams where you keep trying to wake up but can't. A voice kept calling me. And eyes. I kept seeing eyes.
Tonight someone will be with you all the time. I am not going to leave you.
Poor Arthur. You're in no better condition than I am. You need rest too. You can't leave me anyway. You're part of me now.
I guess it worked, didn't it?
You mean you forgot that you just made medical history?
All the credit for that goes to Van Helsing.
Van Helsing enters with the package.
So, I leave and you talk about me, eh?
Hello, Professor.
And how are our patients?
Better.
Find the equipment you needed?
Yes, although it was difficult to find something as rare as this.
He unwraps the package.
These are for you, Miss Lucy.
He pulls out a bundle of small flowers.
For me, Dr. Van Helsing?
Yes, my dear, but not for your enjoyment. These are medicines.
I was beginning to think you were a romantic, Professor.
I gave that up years ago. I put these flowers in the window and make a wreath for you to wear around your neck so that you sleep well.
While he makes a wreath, Lucy reaches over and takes a few flowers, smelling them.
Professor, I think you're playing a joke on me. These are nothing but garlic.
You need not wrinkle that so pretty nose at me. I do not jest. There's grim purpose in all I do here.
I believe these will keep anything away.
Or anyone. I don't know if I could sleep with the smell.
Nonetheless, you must leave them. Even if the room feels close, you must not open the window or remove the flowers.
He plants the wreath around Lucy's neck, then takes the other flowers and places them around the French doors. Seward enters.
Remember what I say.
Already?
Very nearly. Tonight we must observe carefully.
Look, I've been thinking, there's a patient here you should talk to. He's obsessed with blood and the taking of life, and escapes with amazing frequency.
Renfield?
I would like to talk to this Renfield.
I thought you would.
Seward opens the doors and calls into the foyer.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes, Doctor.
Stay with Lucy. We're going up to see Renfield.
I'll stay here if you don't mind.
You should get some sleep too, Mr. Holmwood. What is that?
Trouble.
He goes to the speaking tubes and blows into one.
Just what we need.
Hennessy, what's the matter?
I'll bet you another pint of blood it's Renfield.
How does he do it?
No, thank you, dear.
Seward hangs up the tube.
Renfield's loose again.
Lucy sees something outside the window and cries out. A form darts away in the darkness.
There!
Outside!
He starts toward the French doors.
No! I've sealed the doors. Leave them closed.
Out the other door, then.
He's running across the lawn toward Carfax.
Stay here, Mrs. Morris. Watch her.
Seward, Arthur, and Van Helsing run off.
Can you see him?
He's climbing the wall. There they go after him. He's got too big a head start. It'll take them all night to get over there.
A big bat suddenly flaps in and bangs against the window.
Oh! What's that?
Lord, that's the biggest bat I ever saw.
The bat beats angrily against the panes, then flaps away.
Oh, must have been attracted to the lights, I guess. Can I get you anything?
No, nothing.
You should get more sleep.
That's all I've done all day. How can I sleep with these horrible flowers?
They are a smelly lot of things.
I can't breathe. The flowers, get them off of me.
The professor has his reasons.
Please, I'm suffocating.
If you're going to put up such a fuss about them,
just take them away.
Mrs. Morse takes the wreath from Lucy's neck. As she does, a wolf's head crashes in through the window, biting and snarling. Mrs. Morse tries to scream, but can't. She faints. The wolf stops snarling and glowers at Lucy. Its head withdraws from the broken window and mists begin pouring through the hole. It rises into a column, and from that column, Dracula takes shape.
You are mine.
Dracula bends over her. End of scene 5. An hour later in Seward's office, the room is nearly dark. Mrs. Morse still lies on the floor where she fell. Lucy is sprawled unconscious across the sofa. There are sounds of a scuffle in the foyer.
You might as well come quiet, Renfield. You won't get loose this time.
I shall be patient, master!
Who is he talking to?
I want to check on Lucy.
Arthur looks in the door, sees Lucy, and runs to her. He checks her pulse.
Professor!
Hold him, Hennessy!
Ren, Helsing, and Seward rush in and take in the situation.
What is it?
See to Mrs. Morse.
He rushes to examine Lucy.
How could it happen again? You said those flowers would help.
Be quiet. We do not know what has happened. Oh my God. She is worse than before.
Another transfusion.
No, not you. You have given too much already. We must find another.
Seward gets smelling salts from a cabinet and revives Mrs. Morse.
I'll get the files.
Arthur goes to the filing cabinet while Van Helsing continues the examination. Mrs. Morse wakes up screaming and clutching at Seward.
There, easy now. You're safe.
It was a wolf, I swear it was a wolf!
The one that escaped from the zoo?
They're easy. A wolf couldn't have done this.
It broke the window!
Are you going to be all right, or am I going to need to give you something to relax?
I'm sorry. I won't go to pieces on you.
She sees Lucy.
Oh no, it's my fault. She kept begging me to take the flowers away.
Our work is undone.
Renfield bursts through the door. Arthur and Seward run up and hold him.
I hear you, master! Where are you? Teach me!
Renfield!
You'll see what happens! You can't stop him!
Come on, you mustn't neglect your spiders. They're waiting up in your room.
I don't care about spiders! There are more important things than spiders. Birds, come to my window. Yes. Oh, give me a cat!
We forcibly remove him from the room. Arthur returns.
Get the files. She's dying. It will not be long.
She can't be. We have to try.
There simply isn't time.
Use me now!
Listen to me. It will make a great deal of difference whether she dies conscious or in her sleep.
Arthur kneels next to her and takes her hand.
Lucy.
Sir, you came back.
Yes, I'm here.
My love, I'm so glad you came back.
Lucy's lips draw back. Her canine teeth have grown long.
Kiss me.
No! Do not kiss her! Hold her hand!
Her body contorts, and it takes both of them to hold her down. Then she becomes quieter and looks at Van Helsing.
Dear Professor, my true friend, and his... Guard him. Guard him and give me peace.
Lucy's last breath escapes.
It is over.
She needed me and I wasn't here.
No one is to blame. We have all been deliberately manipulated.
By whom? Or what?
By something we must find at all costs.
At least poor Lucy is out of danger now.
Alas, not so. It is only the beginning.
End of scene 6. 3 days later in Seward's office, it is evening. Seward and Arthur in the room. Arthur sits on the couch, very depressed, and Seward is at the desk dictating into his phonograph.
Even though Lucy Westenra has been buried, I am reluctant to close the case because of Van Helsing's statements. He is due back from Amsterdam shortly, and perhaps then we shall have some answers.
Seward switches the machine off.
So much for business. Want a drink, Arthur?
No thanks.
Well, I do.
He pours himself a brandy.
What do you think Van Helsing meant?
I don't know. Sometimes I think he's a total crackpot, but I've never seen him wrong.
3 days. Can't believe she's dead. She almost looked alive in that coffin. I should be there instead of her.
Let's not start that again.
How could she lose so much blood again after the transfusion?
I'd suspect Renfield if we weren't with him.
Mina and Van Helsing enter.
Ah, at last. Have a good trip?
Not fast enough. There's been nothing unusual.
Not at all.
Look, Professor, I've stood by for all this patiently, but now I'm going to get some explanations.
You're right, my boy. I have brought equipment and done further research on this thing, and now I need your help to stop it. Even you, Miss Murray.
Lucy was my friend.
Good. Remember that. You have all, no doubt, noticed that Miss Westenra's death was most unnatural. What was your diagnosis, Jack?
She died of nervous prostration following a great loss of blood.
And where went all of this lost blood?
The escaped wolf?
Your wolf is basically a coward. They rarely attack people, and the wounds are too precise for a wolf.
Besides, I talked to the keeper after they recaptured it. That wolf is normally as tame as a puppy.
Yes, you reasoned well, Jack. But ask yourself, what could be the cause, eh? Your mind is too earthbound. You do not allow your eyes to see or your ears to hear. If you haven't experienced it, it does not enter into your mind. Why? Why could that poor girl with the blood of two in her veins not survive even one more night? What lives by feeding on blood?
Mosquitoes, leeches, vampire bats?
Ha! Now we are getting somewhere.
Good Lord, Professor. Do you mean Lucy was bitten by such a creature here in England?
They're found in South America, aren't they?
And there were only 2 little punctures. One bat couldn't take all that blood.
What do you want of us, Professor?
I want you to believe.
To believe what?
To believe in things you cannot. I can give you proof now. Lucy was the victim not of a bat, but of a human vampire. The undead Nosferatu.
Really?
Such creatures abound in the folklore of every country, and they do actually exist. They prey upon the living, and when the victim dies, she too must become a vampire. They go on age after age, preying on new victims. The circle widens like the ripples from a stone cast in the water.
What you are saying is absolutely
unbelievable.
Forgive me if I interrupt, Dr. Seward. There did not seem to be anyone else about.
Come in, Count. Abraham, this is our new neighbor, Count Dracula.
The preoccupied Van Helsing looks at Dracula with interest.
Dr. Van Helsing.
Of Amsterdam.
I am flattered. You have heard of me. Your name is also familiar.
I had hoped one day to meet you. Your book on diseases of the blood is a brilliant piece of work.
My thanks. Are you descended from the infamous Vlad Dracula?
Why do you say infamous?
He did personally order the slaughter of more than 100,000 people, mostly by impalement. I would consider that cause for infamy.
Such opinions depend on your point of view. In my country, he is considered a hero because most of those he killed were invading Turks.
Nonetheless, a remarkable man, worthy of much more study.
You would find me a willing collaborator.
The Count has recently moved into the old house across the lawn.
Fascinating. I have at least a few hundred questions to ask you.
I'm at your service. I've sorely missed the conversation of such learned gentlemen. I take it you are here because of Miss Westenra? Most unfortunate. My condolences, Mr. Holmwood.
Thank you.
Has there been any news of Mr. Harker yet?
Mr. Hawkins forwarded a letter posted in Bistritz on the 29th. At least we know he's left Transylvania.
It's such a long time for his journey.
So much has happened in the last few days. At least England seems to agree with you. You look 10 years younger.
Thank you. I'm enjoying myself more than I have in years.
You must tell me more about your illustrious ancestor and more about your country's vampire legends.
Oh, you think perhaps a connection between the two?
Vampires are a subject I've become interested in recently.
If my ancestor had been a vampire, he would have made a terrible adversary. So many conspired against him that violence became a way of life. His father was assassinated, his brother buried alive. A cousin betrayed him to the Turks, and in their prisons he learned the art of cruelty. It taught him well. If he were alive today, he would remember those scars after 450 years.
He was buried, was he not? In the monastery at Snagov. I have an artifact from there which might interest you.
Oh, indeed.
Van Helsing pulls a box out of his bag and opens it for Dracula. It contains a mirror, and Dracula smashes it to the floor.
Such a violent reaction to a simple mirror.
Forgive me. It is not your mirror, but the Snagov monastery, which is a subject of great anger.
Van Helsing and Dracula circle each other warily. The adversaries have recognized themselves.
His tomb was violated then?
There were those who tried and failed.
The body, in fact, does not even lie there, does it?
You're a very learned man, Dr. Van Helsing, but a very foolish one. I think you would be wiser to find another subject that interests you.
But our work is going so well already.
You do amuse me. We should become friends. We could learn so much from each other.
Jonathan Harker enters. He starts to go to Mina, but then sees Dracula.
Jonathan!
Mina. Dracula.
Harker!
Damn you!
Harker attacks Dracula.
Jonathan, what are you doing?
Jonathan, stop it!
No! Stop Dracula!
He
Dracula
jumps in
is
as well.
the vampire!
The others join the fray. There's a brief struggle, and when the participants untangle themselves, they find they hold an empty cape. As they drop it, a cloud of mist dissipates.
God!
What the hell?
A large bat swoops down and out. Harker pulls out a gun. Bat flies away. End of Act 1.
So I hope you guys are enjoying that. We will take about a 10-minute break. So it is now 8:58 and we'll come back right at 9:08, I guess would be the right time. So do feel free to get up, move around. Hopefully there is no bathroom line at the bathroom for you. And while you guys are doing that and refilling drinks as needed, I'm gonna do what I do best, which is kind of talk a little bit. So for those of you that are new, my name is Sarah Dean and I am the executive director here at South Bay Musical Theater. We have been working on Dracula, boy, I guess for about 3 months now. So the prep work starts about in August when we picked the show and started to do auditions. This show was written by Stephen Wathen, who is a set designer, local set designer, and has a huge background in movies and particularly horror movies. So one of the greatest things about this show that I'm so super excited about is that we actually have a set. So the virtual backgrounds that our cast are using are actually based off of Stephen's set design. So I'm gonna show some, I have a little show and tell that I can show so that you can see some of the set designs. So we've just taken little pictures of some of his backdrops. Now, when he first did the show in, with Ohlone College has done it in a couple other places as well. These would have been backdrops on the stage themselves. So you can see, and here's Van Helsing's. Hopefully I'm not going to break anything. That's what I'm most worried about. my cats got a little excited about these set pieces. So these are the little set pieces that have been, we've taken photographs of. And this has been my dream since starting virtual theaters, is to have a set designer actually come in and design us little sets. So each show, whenever we do a main stage, or most of the time, a set designer would build what is called the model. It gives a good idea for both the stage crew, the master carpenters, to have a visual, and the directing staff, production staff, to have a really strong visual of what the set might look like. So that's what the set designs are. For this show, we've put this backdrop behind Seward's office so that hopefully you can see Carfax, the castle in the background, as well as that moon. So that's a little bit of our set. And I'm going to invite Dave Leon to turn on his video and come out. And please, if you've got any questions, we're just...
That's the sound up.
Turn the sound up. My sound.
So
Dave is a local director. He last directed and actually worked with Stephen Wathen on our production of Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was, gosh, 2 years ago now.
2 years ago, yeah.
Oh. So talk to us a little bit about Dracula. And you are a horror movie fan.
I am. I am a huge horror movie buff. I grew up watching the Universal monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, all of them, even the really bad sequels, just because I loved them so much from a really young age. Working on the show has been a really eye-opening experience, because you don't really know how this kind of story is going to translate into this medium. And I have to give the cast a lot of credit for being able to bring these characters to life in such a way that it sounds like if you were to just close your eyes, you're listening to a story being told around a campfire, which is kind of the vibe that we were going for with this. Yeah. And they've done an outstanding job of that. And we had to go through line by line in the script and figure out which stage directions we wanted to keep, which ones we wanted to get rid of or alter somehow. And so that's, I think, has been the biggest challenge that we've had to deal with. I haven't had to worry at all about the performances. Those have been solid from the first read through. So I'm really, really happy with the progress that the show has made over just a few rehearsals in 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's amazing. So a typical main stage show at the Saratoga Civic Theater we would rehearse for 2.5 months, and we've been putting these shows up. The directors ask me, how many rehearsals do you get? It's 5 to 8 is pretty much what we've been doing, and not all the actors are called every time. One of the things that I personally love about the casts that are assembled is, for the most part, this show has a couple of people who've worked for us before, but they are, for the most part, new to our community, but really are able in that first couple of rehearsals to click and come together as a team, which is so exciting. And no matter what the future kind of holds, we will have this bond of still being a virtual cast together, and it's been wonderful.
And a special shout out to Carla, our stage manager, with whom I was fortunate enough to work on Hunchback. She was my stage manager for that too, and as soon as this opportunity came around, she was the first person I thought of, the only person I had in mind, and I'm so glad that she agreed to do it. So
we agree with that. She was, I think we both said, and we'll ask Carla to be the stage manager, because that was a dream team right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she says, thank you. Thank you. So cool, you guys. These, we are super grateful to all of our sustaining donors that are out there, as we have been on this pandemic pause kind of much longer than we had anticipated originally. We are really reaping the benefits of this new format and being able to make new connections with people. So we're grateful to everybody who's out there. If you're joining us for the first time, our East Studio really does a wide variety of programs every month, from panel discussions to dance classes and audition workshops or acting workshops. We're super glad that you're here, and if you are new to find that you have found us. Our programming, we have made it a priority to make this complimentary to all of our community, all of the theater community that's out there, because just to keep us connected, kind of, it's the eStudio, it's engaged, enriched, and entertained is our motto. So I invite you, if you're not already, if you're not hooked in with us, we have a Facebook group that is the SBMT eStudio that you're welcome to join, as well as all of our information is posted on our website. And that's southbaymt.com. There is the eStudio page, and that will list all of our upcoming programs. Each month there is about somewhere between 5 and 8 different programs. And we try to do these readers theaters about every 6 to 8 weeks. Our next one will be coming up in November, and it is going to be the play by John Van Druten, which is I Am a Camera, and that is the source material for the musical Cabaret. We have popped into our chat the link to our website, and we do invite you. Many people have donated for this ticket tonight, and we're grateful for that. If you would like to contribute more, it's always welcome to help us just kind of ride the tide until we're able to produce again. We are luckily feeling like we're going to be able to pick up producing as soon as it's safe for us to come together. And as you all know, the theaters are possibly going to be one of the last around. So I'm going to take, we've got about 2 or 3 more minutes to, again, get up, stretch your legs, have a little bit of a shake out, whatever you need. And again, if you've got any questions, do pop them in the chat, feel free. We will be at the end of Act 2. All of the actors come on, turn on their cameras, and you're welcome to say hi, to wave, to ask them any questions that you've got. So they are looking forward to that. It's great to see everybody tonight. We are thrilled that you're here. Lots of familiar names, and as well as many new ones. So it's exciting that you're here. Thank you so much for coming. I will do one more last little quick plug for our upcoming programs. We haven't officially announced our November and December programs, but the first 2 that are coming are 2 behind the curtain panel discussions. The first is on November 10th with Tony Award winner James Monroe Iglehart. He is a Bay Area native and went off and won Tony's in New York. So he's coming back, and we're going to have a little chat, just he and I, about kind of his journey from growing up in the East Bay. And then now he, up until the pandemic closed Broadway, he was starring as Jefferson and Lafayette in Hamilton. He has a great journey, and I'm super looking forward to that conversation. Then that same week, we have a costume design panel called The Unseen Thread with Lisa Rosman, May Matos, and Sharon Peng. They'll be talking with Michael Hirsch about the backgrounds of what they do in costume design and costume prep. That's going to be, again, another fabulous conversation, The Unseen Thread. They'll be doing a little bit too of costume discussion on tricks and tips to make some of the theater magic happen. So that information, you can log onto our website and sign up for email notifications. I generally email out about 24 hours in advance or somewhere in there to send people the Zoom links, all held up over Zoom. So thank you guys so much. It is 9:08. I'm going to give it over to Carla in just a second. Carla, do you know if we are ready?
We're ready.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to turn it over to Mitch and the cast of Dracula for Act 2.
An hour later in Seward's office, Harker is midway through the story of his adventures. He is a man who is much the worse for his ordeal. It would take little to make a patient of him. Van Helsing makes an occasional note in his book.
I had fully come to believe Count Dracula was a monster. From what you've told me, even that estimate was an understatement.
One of the vampire's greatest strengths is that people do not believe in him.
All right, so how did you get out of that horrible place?
He left me completely free within a certain part of the castle. The only windows looked over a sheer drop of 1,000 feet, and there were always wolves guarding the door. He had nothing to worry about.
An old and powerful vampire can control the creatures of the night, like wolves and rats.
One night, I was watching out one of those windows and saw Dracula emerge and crawl head first down the wall like a lizard to another window. I realized I wasn't going to get out any other way, so the next morning I climbed down to it myself. Dracula wasn't there. The room was covered with dust. Somehow I wasn't afraid in the daytime because I only saw him at night.
Some say that vampires are completely helpless during the day, but it seems that they must only rest at some time in daylight. A vampire can move about in the daytime, but direct sunlight will destroy him.
Then that explains what I found.
What?
I discovered a ruined chapel. The ground was recently dug up and layers of soil put into big coffin-like crates. That's where I found Dracula. Lying in one of the boxes. He looked dead, but I knew he wasn't. Those dead but living eyes were staring at me. I took a shovel and I wanted to smash that face to pieces, but I couldn't. I couldn't.
Easy, Jonathan. Just take it slowly.
Layers of dirt, did you say?
A layer of several inches in each box.
Another weakness in our enemy. Yes. It must be that the undead can only rest in their native soil.
Well, Dracula had those boxes shipped here. After noon, a band of Slovaks loaded them on wagons and took them away, Dracula with them. I didn't want to wait for those 3 women, so I got away right behind them.
Now I've got you back. A little the worse for wear, but at least you're safe now.
I thought I must be losing my mind. It's been a nightmare.
There is no doubt in my mind that this is the very same Vlad Dracula who ruled in Transylvania 450 years ago. He has had all that time to study and plot and to learn. Make no mistake, this creature is dangerous in the extreme.
If he's in that house, let's go over there and put an end to him now.
Patience. This is nighttime. His time. We must not try and then fail. He will not give us a second chance. Oh, and there is something else we must do first.
It's late. Jonathan, you can drive home in the morning. I'm going to put you in a room here for the night.
I may stay longer. I have a score to settle with Count Dracula.
So do I, Mr. Harker.
All but Arthur leave. Then we hear a familiar voice.
Arthur.
Arthur runs to the door and lets Lucy in.
Lucy!
I'm so cold, Arthur.
Love gets the better of reason, and Arthur wraps his arms around her.
You're alive! You're not dead!
I've been so lonely without you, darling. Hold me. Keep me warm.
Thank God.
I'll never leave you again. We'll be together for eternity.
Yes, Lucy.
Kiss me, my beloved.
Lucy and Arthur slowly move together and she smiles, revealing her teeth. She's moving for his throat when Van Helsing shows up in the doorway followed by Seward.
Not for your immortal soul.
He smiles back with an animal snarl.
So she's alive.
She is not alive. Get away from her.
Darling, don't listen to him. He wants to kill me. Come away with me now.
Stand back.
What is this? Look at her. She's alive.
I tell you that this thing is not the Lucy you loved. It is a mere shell being used by horror that would doom you to the same living death.
Arthur, don't listen to him. Take me out of here.
She tries to pull him to the French doors. Van Helsing pulls a cross out of his pocket and holds it in front of her. She snarls and backs up, burning her eyes.
Arthur, keep him away from me.
The voice is no longer that of seductive Lucy, but a cold, malignant rasping that causes Arthur to withdraw in fear. Van Helsing overtakes Lucy and presses the cross against her forehead. Lucy screams. Van Helsing takes the cross away, leaving a red, burned scar on her forehead. Lucy turns and runs out the door.
After her!
Not yet. I know where she's going.
That poor girl, buried alive.
You have listened to nothing I have said. Remember that the vampire's victim in turn becomes a vampire.
Oh, God.
She's one of them.
Yes.
What can we do? How can we save her?
Mr. Holmwood, Arthur, Lucy Westenra is dead. We cannot bring her back, but we can free her soul from this horror.
How?
By driving a wooden stake through her heart, or by cutting off her head.
Never. I won't consent to mutilating her.
Something that must be done. That dear lady's soul is doomed to seek the blood of the living unless we free her from this curse.
There must be another way.
The body can be cremated, but it is difficult to do that without attracting attention.
What if this is all a bizarre series of coincidences?
Come with me to the tomb, but not in anger. You shall see her return at sunrise, and then decide what is right. I will do nothing without consulting you.
Arthur, Seward, and Van Helsing leave. A form approaches the French doors. It is Dracula. He enters and looks around the room. He flips on Seward's phonograph.
29 July. Another violent outbreak from Renfield. His changes are unpredictable. Now he sleeps during the day and is active at night. He keeps repeating, "The master is at hand."
Dracula switches off the phonograph. Mina enters on the landing and stops when she sees him, failing to realize it is by his will she is there.
You.
Here, Mina.
How did you get in?
Doors were unlocked. You should be more careful.
What do you want?
I have come for you, Mina.
No.
It is by my will you are here. You cannot resist.
I can.
Come here to me.
Van Helsing will stop you.
Soon you will wish him not to.
You're evil.
What do you know of evil? You, who have lived in the shelter of civilization? Good and evil are meaningless. Survival is everything.
Mina tries to cry out, but cannot.
Your will is very strong, but you cannot call your friends.
Jonathan!
Tears? You should be happy. Soon we two shall be as one.
Mina is drawn ever closer in Dracula's embrace.
Never! Never!
You will remember nothing of what passes between us, but you will obey my will whenever or wherever I call you.
They close together. End of scene 1. The next evening in Seward's office, Harker, Van Helsing, Seward, and Arthur enter through the French doors. Arthur brushes some dust off.
Only 41.
Jonathan, are you sure the Count had 50 boxes of earth shipped here?
Oh, the invoices.
He mops his brow with his handkerchief.
And through every square inch of Carfax, and there are 9 boxes missing.
Are you feeling ill, Jonathan?
No, it was just the smell in there. Exactly like the chapel in Castle Dracula.
Just take it easy. You've had quite an ordeal.
Another day is lost to us. As long as those other boxers are at large, we can do nothing.
We can't just do nothing.
Each of those boxers is a safe refuge for him. We dare not move against him until we can strike at once and eliminate all of his resting place.
We have to find out where he's taken the other ones.
The Count enjoys contests, but he's no fool. He knew Carfax would be the first place we looked for him.
Hawkins. I'll telegraph Hawkins and find out if Dracula has had any other property transactions.
There's only a small chance he would not confide in only one solicitor. My friends, this is a terrible task we undertake. If we fail, he wins. But to fail here is not mere life or death. It is that we become as he, foul things of the night.
Let's hope that Lucy is his only victim.
Have you forgotten already? The ship's captain.
Then we must...
The body has been cremated. I convinced them it was a dangerous disease.
Sun's going down. What about Lucy?
It's your decision, Arthur.
You said you would decide. You saw her return to her crib. Do you want her to go through another night of this horror? You must act soon.
You have what you need.
Van Helsing takes a package off a shelf and unwraps 2 big wooden stakes, a yard long.
One of these. Lucy has not Dracula's strength or experiences, but she is still dangerous. Each night we'll see her gain power. She is still under Dracula's control, and she will help him.
Arthur, I know Dracula better than any of you. If you don't decide, I will. I didn't promise you anything.
Mina enters. She wears a ribbon around her throat. Van Helsing hides the stake behind himself.
What did you find?
He's taken some of the boxes elsewhere.
I thought as much. While you were gone, I contacted the shipping company that first handled them. They're sending over the 2 men who did the job.
Jack, you're lucky to have your business left in such capable hands.
I can't stand by and do nothing any more than the rest of you can. Now you've all got to come and eat something.
An excellent idea.
Mina is trying to find out what the professor's holding behind his back, but he keeps the stake hidden. Arthur takes Mina out.
Starved. Come on.
Harker gives Arthur a parting look before he goes. Arthur takes the stake from Van Helsing.
Tonight, then.
For her sake, my boy.
They start to exit. Arthur puts the stake away. Seward remains behind.
Are you coming, Jack?
In a minute. I just want to see to the day's business. Still have a hospital to run, you know.
Arthur and Van Helsing exit. Seward starts to read the messages on his desk.
Now what?
Renfield runs down the stairs.
Dr. Seward, you must set me free.
You know I can't do that until you prove that you've recovered. It doesn't look very good when you keep getting out of your room.
But you don't understand. The master is at hand.
Who do you mean? Is it Count Dracula?
No.
Dracula is using you, Renfield. He doesn't care anything about you. We're trying to help you.
No, that's not true. You've been there. I saw you, and he knows. I have done your bidding, master. I am your slave, and you will reward me. You will not pass me by, will you, master?
Renfield has gone to the French doors.
Come back here and we'll talk about it.
No, if you won't free me, I'll run away again.
And we'll only capture you again. Only it'll be worse this time. You know, I've been thinking about your request for a cat.
Cats. I don't care about cats. I have more important things to think about now.
He spies the stakes, runs over and grabs them.
Oh, look what I found. You won't get to use them. I'll see to that.
Give me those, Renfield.
You can't have them!
Seward reaches out for them, and Renfield suddenly lashes out with a stake and cuts Seward's hand. Seward holds the injured hand and blood drips onto the floor.
I'll give you one more chance to put those down and come with me before we put you under restraint.
Renfield sees the blood on the floor, drops the stakes, and falls to his knees, licking it up.
The blood is the life! The blood is the life!
Arthur and Mrs. Morris burst into the room.
Are you all right, Dr. Seward?
Yes, yes.
The 3 of them subdue Renfield.
Do you think you'll hold me? Lucy's only the beginning.
What about Lucy?
Never mind about that. How did he get out this time?
I'm sorry, it was my fault. I went to check on him, and when I opened the door, he jumped me and ran off down the hall.
Mina, Harker, and Van Helsing come into the room, while the other 3 wrestle Renfield toward the door.
I warned you, Renfield. You're going under restraint.
You'll never hold me. The master will see to that. You will all die.
Be quiet, Renfield. You're only making things worse for yourself.
Yes. I'll go quietly.
They take him away.
Who was that?
One of the inmates. Dracula seems to be controlling him.
Professor Van Helsing, it might be better if I take Mina away from here.
No, I'm not running away from this. There's the door.
Mina goes after it.
Obstinate.
Don't worry, Mr. Harker. It is we who are the hunters now.
Are we?
This way, gentlemen.
She brings Bloxam and Snelling into the room.
Thank you, miss. You wanted to see us.
Smollett, that's our foreman. He said you wanted us?
You handle the crates shipped on the Demeter?
Told you. Blimey, I hope I never sees one of them bloody things again.
Yeah, damn thirsty work that was. And that old bloke what hired us didn't show an ounce of consideration. You'd be surprised how much more cooperative a working man is if he gets treated to a pint when the job's done. If you get my meaning?
Mina gets some money from a cabinet and gives it to Snelling.
I'm sure the two of you will be able to alleviate a considerable part of that thirst with this.
Thank you, miss. You're as kind-hearted as you are pretty.
What is it you'd like to know?
There were a total of 50 boxes. 41 are at Carfax. We'd like to know where the other 9 are.
Let's see now. He had us take 'em to an house out in Piccadilly.
Do you remember the number?
Is it on the shipping invoice?
I forgets the number.
He made us do that as a special job. Weren't on the invoice.
I do remember it was only a few doors from a big white church. Dusty old house, though nothing like that one over there.
How do you get inside?
The old gent what engaged us was a-waiting at the door. Don't know how he got there so quick. It must have flew. Helped us lift the boxes out of the wagon. Cursed me, but he was the strongest chap I ever struck, and him an old feller, and so you'd think he couldn't even throw a shatter.
Where in the house did you leave the boxes?
In the hall. Place was empty.
Are you certain you can't remember the number?
No, but you needn't have no difficulty about that. It's a big one, with a stone front, and I steps up to the door.
Wouldn't catch me living in that place if you was to give it to me rent-free.
I think we should be able to find it.
And if that's all you'll be needing us for, we'll be on our way.
Thank you.
It was our pleasure. Come on, Sam.
Never saw such a bleeding fuss about a bunch of boxes of dirt.
They exit.
Now that we know where they are, how are we going to get in?
We got into the other.
This is different, Jonathan. You can't just commit burglary in the middle of Piccadilly.
It is right, and we must do it in broad daylight.
I had a client once who went off to Switzerland for the summer. While he was gone, a burglar walked up to the front door, made a key, and let himself in. He advertised an auction, sold everything in the house, and then sold the property itself. A builder tore the house down, and when the owner returned, he found an empty lot.
Then we just get a locksmith to let us in.
I believe it will work.
Arthur returns.
Well, Renfield's snug in his chambers, and Dr. Seward's having his hand patched up. It's time we got back to dinner.
We have some good news.
Arthur.
Quiet. Listen.
Arthur. Come out, Arthur.
Oh, God.
Quickly, turn the lights out.
Who is it?
Harker turns out the lights. Fog starts flowing under the French doors. They open by themselves. Van Helsing finds the stakes and puts one of them into Arthur's hands.
Jonathan, what's going on?
Get back there, out of the way.
Professor Van Helsing?
Lucy materializes out of the fog. Her forehead still carries the scar from the cross. Her clothes are dirtier and much more ragged. She is a much hungrier, more malevolent-looking creature.
Lucy.
Arthur, I'm so cold and frightened. Come to me. Mina, come outside with me. We have so much to talk about.
As she runs toward Mina, Van Helsing steps out of the shadows and holds a cross between them. Lucy snarls and backs away. Mina also backs from the cross a little.
Jonathan, the door.
Harker steps into the French doors with another cross. Lucy's escape is thwarted.
Mina, help me.
Lucy tries for another door, but Van Helsing blocks her. Arthur can only hold the stake in front of him in shock.
You see, Arthur? It must be done.
Lucy snarls again and throws a chair at Van Helsing. He loses his cross and Lucy pounces on him, rallying, going for his throat. Harker tries to pull her off.
Arthur, do something!
Lucy throws Harker off, but Van Helsing gets his cross back.
Save me, Arthur!
She runs to him and throws her arms around and at that moment screams horribly. The point of the stake Arthur is holding comes through Lucy's back and blood runs down her dress. She turns with the stake embedded in her body, clawing at it, blood running from it and her mouth. Lucy collapses onto the floor. Arthur looks at his bloody hands and kneels over her, sobbing. There is a sound of wind and mist swirls around the French doors. Red eyes glow outside.
For this, you will pay dearly.
End of scene 2. Later that night in Seward's office, the French doors are closed and a wreath of garlic secures them. Mina and Harker are in the room alone.
We've hardly had a chance to talk.
Months, all I could think about was trying to get back to you. Now I find that the nightmare isn't over.
To hear Van Helsing talk about it is one thing, but to actually see Lucy...
Don't think about it.
Jonathan, I'm frightened.
We'll get through this. You're so pale.
Harker tries to kiss her. Mina puts her hand to her throat and suddenly fends him off.
No.
What's the matter?
I just don't want to, not now.
4 a.m. Everyone else is asleep.
Not after everything that's happened, Jonathan. Give us time.
Well, then I'm going to bed. You may like staying up all night, but I'm tired.
Harker stands, takes a couple steps, and then collapses on the floor.
Jonathan, what is it? Jonathan, wake up!
A bat flaps outside the window.
Mina.
Mina rises like a puppet and goes to the French door where she takes the garlic. Dracula enters.
Jonathan?
I think we should let Mr. Harker sleep, don't you, Mina?
No.
Come to me, Mina.
She tries to fight him, but his hypnotic hold over her is too strong.
Please don't.
You don't seem very pleased to see me again.
I hate you. You may have your way for now, but we will destroy you.
She is shaking, speaking through clenched teeth. As her unwilling legs carry her to Dracula, he takes her hand.
You are so much more interesting than the late Miss Westenra, a woman of strength and courage. You will last through the ages. You will watch all that you know in this life turn to dust, never to grow old, to have anything you desire.
Accept peace?
Dracula exerts pressure on her hand, and she lets out a whimper.
What do they know?
He forces her a little harder, and she gives in.
They know about the house in Piccadilly.
Do they know? What are their plans?
Today, they'll go to the house and to Carfax. They'll make all the boxes uninhabitable for you. Help me, John!
He cannot hear you.
Dracula removes a band from her throat and loosens her collar.
No!
Not another sound, or I will kill him in front of you.
Dracula kisses her and she kisses back. He releases her.
You too would pit your brain against mine. You know what it is to cross my path. You would try to outwit one who has commanded nations long before you were born. Now you, the best loved one, are flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. When I call, you shall cross land or sea to do my bidding.
Dracula bends over her and his mouth goes to her neck. Mina flinches. When Dracula releases her, there's blood on his mouth and on her throat.
And now for your initiation.
Dracula opens his shirt and with one pointed fingernail opens a vein in his chest. He opens both of Mina's hands and one of his, and with the other forces her head toward him. Mina struggles, but is pulled inexorably to him.
No!
She is held so that she must either drink or suffocate. At last, Dracula throws her away from him, leaving her coughing and crying. Dracula laughs, turns abruptly, and strides out into the now dawning world. Mina tries desperately and angrily to clean her mouth as Harker begins to stir.
Oh, what happened? Mina? I must have blacked... What are you doing?
No! Don't touch me! You mustn't ever touch me again! Ugh, unclean! Unclean!
Mina, what are you talking about?
He was here.
You're bleeding.
I betrayed you. None of you are safe with me here. I'm as much your enemy as he is.
Don't talk that way.
God, what have I done?
Mina runs from the room. End of scene 3. The next day at sunset in Seward's office, Van Helsing and Arthur enter. Van Helsing carries a package, puts it on the desk, then paces.
They should be back by now. It's almost dark.
There's something happened.
Then it happens. And we go on. Continue to fight until we win. Or there are none of us left to fight him.
Harker and Seward come in through the French doors.
Here they are.
We've put crosses in all of the boxes in Carfax.
Our news is not so good. He had time to remove one box from the house in Piccadilly.
At least we made the rest useless to him.
To have waited would be to risk losing all. We have reduced him to one hiding place. With luck, he may not need that.
Think he'll come here again?
He might just disappear and wait. But we have angered him and he will seek revenge. We must keep Mina under guard at all times.
Van Helsing unwraps his new bundle of garlic and places it around the doors.
Well, Professor, you can use your garlic, but I put a little bit more faith in this.
Harker pulls a heavy, long-bladed kukri knife out from under his coat. Mina enters, weak and melancholy.
Jonathan, what are you doing?
Just being prepared. You should be resting.
I can't. I've been putting everything together that we know. Transcribing Dr. Seward's notes and Van Helsing's research and your journal. If anything happens to us, someone else might find this and before it's too late.
She puts her file in the cabinet.
Reminds me, I'd better find out what our star patient has been up to while we've been gone.
I'll go with you. I don't trust him for an instant.
All right, we won't be long.
When you come back, we must all remain here together this night.
Seward and Arthur exit.
We'll have a few surprises even for Dracula. And this will make it complete.
Van Helsing takes out a small cross on a chain and brings it to Mina.
You must wear this cross at all times.
Mina draws back slightly, then holds out her hand. Van Helsing drops it into her palm and Mina screams and drops it.
Mina!
You scared her flesh, just like Lucy. It has gone further than I thought.
I can't hide it. I'm his. You must lock me in a cell tonight. There's no telling what I might do.
It is not as bad as all that. While there is still life in your body, your mind is your own. Dracula may control you for short times, but we will be here. And until Dracula truly dies and that mark fades from your skin, it will serve as a reminder to us.
Stop talking as if you've become some kind of monster.
I have, Jonathan. Look at this.
She holds her hand in front of him.
None of you are safe with me.
Seward returns.
He's done it again.
Renfield? Escaped?
How this time?
We found his window pulled out.
Must find him, and don't raise an alarm.
Yes, better if he doesn't know we're looking for him.
Jonathan, stay here with Mina. The sun isn't down yet. We will be back before then.
If anything happens, use the alarm.
Seward and Van Helsing exit. Mina goes to the French doors and looks out.
Sunset. It happens every day and we take it for granted. but never again to see the sun. Jonathan, I feel cold. The last of my life is dying with that sun.
Harker puts his arms around her.
Even your warm hands can't stop it. I don't want to become one, like Lucy.
Won't.
If I do, will you promise to do what has to be done?
Don't talk that way.
We have to face it. Promise me, Jonathan. Don't let me go through even one night of that.
I promise.
Mina disengages herself from Harker and stands near the couch, struggling with herself. Her mouth opens, and we see that her teeth have grown. She reclines on the couch.
Jonathan.
If Dracula will only come here tonight, we can kill him. We have it worked out.
Then come here and tell me about it, my love.
Harker goes to her.
If he goes into hiding, we'll never find him in our puny lifetimes, but he won't. I know him.
Be quiet and kiss me, John.
As they move together, Harker catches sight of her teeth and backs off hurriedly.
Why do you leave, my love? I need you.
She follows him. Renfield slips down the stairs behind Harker and picks up an object to hit him with. Mina keeps backing Harker toward him.
Mina, get control of yourself.
Renfield strikes and Harker crumples to the floor. Renfield crouches over Harker like a dog, laughing. Mina grabs him by the neck and pulls him off, throwing him across the room.
No!
Miss Murray, what's the matter? I've obeyed the master. He promised to reward me.
Not him.
You were always kind to me. You and Lucy.
The bat starts flapping against the windows.
No, master. I beg you, let her go.
Renfield goes unwillingly to the French doors.
No, I won't do it.
Mina begins to regain control of herself as Dracula must concentrate harder on Renfield.
Not her.
Renfield tears the garlic from the doors and throws it in the fireplace. Mina screams. She runs for the door. Dracula enters and stops Mina with a gesture. At that moment, Renfield attacks him. Dracula catches him and holds him at bay.
Fool! Fool. You think you can put your puny will against mine? I offered you immortality, and this is how you repay me?
No, master, I'll obey you in all things, but please, let her go.
He releases Renfield.
You have a great deal to learn. Anything you wanted could have been yours. The flies and the spiders and rats were just the beginning. Now watch.
Dracula approaches Mina and begins to caress her throat. Renfield moves to the fireplace and picks up the poker. As he is about to strike, Dracula whirls around and catches him by the wrist.
You have just made your last mistake.
Dracula forces him to drop the poker, then puts his hand around Renfield's. While the Count is diverted, Mina runs out the door.
She's escaped! She's escaped!
More than you shall do.
Dracula strikes Renfield hard, then drops him to the floor. He exits up the stairs, and Arthur, Seward, Van Helsing, and Mrs. Morris and Mina rush in.
There he is!
Take it easy. Lie quietly so we can have a look at you.
How's Mr. Harker?
He's coming around. Look after Renfield.
Van Helsing examines a wound on Renfield's temple.
There is depressed fracture of the skull, extending right up through the motor area. Cortical edema, I believe. We must reduce the pressure immediately. I must get to your surgery and prepare for trephination.
No. There isn't much time left. How good you've been to me, Dr. Seward. They say madmen have unusual strength, and being mad, I thought I could hold him.
You're not mad, my friend.
Not a good way to find out, is it? I held him. I thought I could win until I saw his eyes. They burned into me and my strength became like water. But in my own way, I won. Miss Murray is safe. I'm sorry about Mr. Harker, Miss Murray. Can you ever forgive me?
Yes, I forgive you.
Then I can die in peace.
Listen to me, Renfield. Dracula has one last hiding place. Can you tell us where it is?
Renfield dies.
Too late.
We must attend our other patient.
Get me some water.
Never mind.
What's all this about Dracula? What happened in here?
It's part of Renfield's fixation.
When he attacked Jonathan, he fell and hit his head.
Perhaps it's for the better. I don't think we could ever have cured him.
You stand, my boy.
Give me a minute.
How's your head?
4 feet wide.
Seward examines him.
There's a bit of a bump, but you should live.
It's that thick skull of yours.
Who's talking?
Mrs. Morse, help us get Renfield out of here.
Where shall we take him? The surgery?
That will do.
Arthur, Seward, and Mrs. Morse pick Renfield up.
Do you want me to bring you anything, Mr. Harker?
No, thank you. I'll be all right.
They take Renfield away.
What happened? Was it Dracula?
Yes. Renfield tried to save me.
I'm glad he came to his senses before he died. What do you think Dracula will try next?
Wish I knew. But Vlad Dracula never ran from a battle. I do not think he has changed in all this time.
But years aren't important to him. He can win by doing nothing.
He hasn't left. I can feel his presence.
Where?
I don't know, but he's near.
Harker goes to the French doors.
Don't go outside. You will probably find him, which is exactly what he wants. Close the doors.
Harker does so.
Singly, we are vulnerable. We must get Jack and Mr. Holmwood back in here.
I'll go.
Mina runs out.
You shouldn't have let her go.
Don't underestimate her. Do you have your cross?
Right here.
Do not let it out of your reach. It is the only thing that will protect you from him.
Harker takes out his knife.
Not the only thing.
Only through the heart or by cutting off his head. No other wound will have any effect.
What about your garlic?
Leave it. We want him to enter.
Van Helsing finds his other stake. Mina returns.
They're on their way.
Mina, get back in that corner.
Mina retreats by the fireplace.
Jonathan?
What?
I love you. Whatever happens.
Arthur and Seward enter.
Get your crosses and be ready. Mina feels him nearby.
Harker, you get on the other side of the doors. We'll cut off his retreat after he's inside. Dr. Seward, you keep him from that door. Professor Van Helsing, the stairs.
Excellent.
If we can surround him and force him into a corner, you'll get to use that.
I shall attract his attention. Remember, he may change his form, but no matter what shape he chooses, the cross will protect you. Keep out of his reach.
The lights dim a little.
It's getting cold.
Quiet. He's coming.
They all watch the French doors, but a dark figure steps onto the stair landing.
Ah, cattle, waiting for the slaughter. Nonetheless, I congratulate you, Van Helsing. You have given me a most enjoyable chase. You are my most worthy opponent since King Matthias imprisoned me at Vissergrad over 400 years ago.
435 years, I believe.
436. But we won't quibble over details. It is your mind which causes me to be generous. If you give me Mina, I shall allow the rest of you to live. I'll even forgive you, Mr. Holmwood, for depriving me of the enjoyable company of Miss Westenra.
Arthur starts to move toward him.
Keep your distance, Arthur.
Dracula vaults the landing and lands next to Mina. He takes her by the neck.
Have you felt the softness of her throat, Mr. Harker? She's truly a lovely creature. a great shame to have to kill her before either of us have enjoyed her more fully.
They start closing on Dracula, crosses held up.
Withdraw from the door, or she dies now.
Harker begins to step away from the French doors and suddenly throws his cross at Dracula. The Count begins a cry of agony as he wards off the missile. For a moment, he releases Mina, and Seward steps between them. He places the cross between them, and Dracula retreats from it.
Get her away!
Harker takes out his knife. The others close in on Dracula. He snarls menacingly.
Aim to defeat me? You, with your pale faces lined up like sheep. You shall be sorry yet, each of you.
Mina gives a fanged snarl, then leaps onto Seward's back. Dracula knocks Arthur out of the way and goes through the fireplace.
Get her off!
Harker drags Mina away and holds her.
My revenge has just begun. I spread it over centuries, and now time is on my side. The women you love are already mine, and you and others shall follow. My creatures, to do my bidding and to be my jackals when I feed.
Arthur, Seward, and Van Helsing rush him. As they surround him, they suddenly draw back from a snarling wolf. It disappears in a cloud of mist up the chimney.
He's gone!
Mina slowly regains her own personality.
Dr. Seward.
We all understand. At least he didn't get you.
We took a risk, and he has beaten us. We have learned that, despite his brave words, he fears us.
Professor Van Helsing, I have an idea. Can you hypnotize me?
What?
I'm serious. If the Count can use me to see what you're doing, maybe we can make the process work in reverse.
Come, Miss Murray. Sit in this chair. Bring me that candle.
Arthur does so.
Now, I want you to relax completely and concentrate only on my hands.
Van Helsing begins to pass his hands downward in succession from the top of Mina's head over her eyes.
Watch only my hands. Your body grows limp. Relax. Your toes, your ankles, your legs are growing heavier. Feel it spreading upward. Now your fingers, your hands, your arms, there's nothing left of your body except your eyes. Watching only my hands. Only my hands. Now your eyes too are growing tired. Your eyelids cannot remain open. Your eyes close. You will sleep. Sleep. Where are you?
I don't know. Sleep has no place it can call its own.
What can you feel?
Wind. I feel the wind all around me. Falling, yet not falling.
Can you see anything?
Lights. The river, far below. Now a ship rushing toward me. An open hatch and darkness.
Nothing else?
Nothing.
And you must return to us. Awaken.
She begins to stir, her eyes open.
Hello.
He's on a ship.
Will you recognize it if you see it again?
I think so. There isn't a moment to lose. We must find it.
He hasn't lost us yet.
Come. Get everything together. We must leave for London at once.
End of scene 4. September 5th, 1897. It is sunset at the crumbling ruins of Castle Dracula. Van Helsing pushes the doors open. He and Mina enter wearing heavy coats.
Exactly as Jonathan described it.
Dracula is here. There were fresh wagon tracks. We must find him before sundown.
The Slovaks we've been following wouldn't have had time to hide him. He must be nearby.
Sit there. You mustn't tire yourself.
Now that I'm here, the castle is like a huge weight pressing down on me. Where are the others?
They will be in as soon as they tend the horses.
Van Helsing looks into her eyes.
Tell me what you feel.
Mina goes into a trance.
Death. Deeper in death than the grave.
Tell me of the Count. What do you feel from him?
Blackness. Silence. Nothingness. I know you're here. You can't hide from me.
Mina. Soon, Mina. The sun sets. In a few minutes, your world will be my world.
I would rather die than become what you are.
You have no such choice. You will die, and then you will be mine.
Never!
The cry brings in Harker, Seward, and Arthur.
What happened?
She still fights him.
Where is he?
He outsmarted us at Varna by landing at Galatz instead. Why do you think he's even here?
Why else would anyone bring a wagon out here?
Yeah, probably a decoy to throw us off the track again.
There are secret passageways where he could hide for years.
Tear this place down stone by stone if we have to.
There isn't time. Wake, Mina. Wake.
Start searching.
So tired.
Harker and Arthur start searching the room.
If we fail tonight, it will be too late for her.
Want to sleep.
Listen.
It's them.
Women?
Yes.
Gather in a circle. Mina in the center.
The three women approach from different directions. The men circle Mina and hold out their crosses.
Hello, Jonathan.
We missed you, Jonathan.
It's so nice that you brought company.
We've been so lonely.
They circle the men held at bay by the crosses.
Keep them away from Mina.
Why, Jonathan? No one in the world is safer from them than I.
Join us, sister.
Join us.
The wolves.
They know he has returned to them. Stay together.
You belong with us now.
Their attempt to get Mina is thwarted, so they change tactics.
Think of what we offer you.
Immortality.
Come away with me.
The pale woman has fixed on Harker, the rotting woman on Arthur, and the shrouded woman on Seward.
I need you.
I can give you what no other woman can.
I want you.
Come away from the others.
I'm yours forever.
Come with me.
Take me.
Just close your eyes, Jonathan.
Forever.
Van Helsing looks around and starts to move toward a pike hanging on the wall. Suddenly, Mina bares her fangs and pounces on him. The women continue to lead their three victims away.
Forever.
Forever.
Van Helsing struggles with Mina.
Mina, you must get control.
Must stop you. No!
Mina regains her self-control, and Van Helsing pulls the pike down from the wall. The shrouded woman is leading Seward up the stairs. Van Helsing charges up the stairs and jams the pike into her heart. She screams and pushes it away from him, staggering down the stairs. The others come to their senses. A cloud of smoke rises behind the rubble where the shrouded woman fell, and a skeletal form in her dress stands briefly, then collapses. Arthur fumbles for his cross and holds it in front of the rotting woman. She snarls and knocks it away. She attacks him immediately, going for his throat with her fingernails. The pale woman has a grip on Harker, and her fangs move inexorably toward its neck.
Here's your crosses.
Jonathan!
She attacks the pale woman and slaps her viciously. Mina grabs her by the hair and holds the pale woman's head back, while Harker pulls out his kukri knife. He cuts the vampire's throat with it, and Mina lets go of her. The pale woman collapses into the rubble, and Harker jumps on her to finish her off. Van Helsing is helping Seward, who has gotten himself tangled up in the drape next to the stairs. He pulls the drape off a large wooden crate.
There he is.
The rotting woman rises from the fallen Arthur, her hands and mouth bloody. As he advances towards her, he gets out his cross and backs her off.
No!
Seward recovers and picks up one of their wooden stakes.
Kill her!
Van Helsing forces her to the floor and she crawls backward to try to get away. Seward plunges a stake into her and she writhes and claws at him.
Deeper! Set it deeper!
Seward picks up a rock and drives the stake through her. Her struggles cease.
Arthur!
Seward helps the bloodied Arthur to his feet. Suddenly, the lid of the crate shatters and boards fly loose. Dracula struggles to rise.
Now you will answer to me.
Arthur tears himself away from Seward, grabs one of the splintered boards and plunges it into Dracula's heart.
Now, strike!
Seward raises the rock over his head and brings it down on the board splinter. Dracula screams. Mina also screams. To assist. Again, Seward strikes and Mina clutches at her heart. Crying and screaming. As Seward strikes a third time, a blast of smoke rises from Dracula. Van Helsing holds Mina away.
We have done it. His body is reverting to its true age.
Mina calms down. With a yell, Harker cuts off his decaying head. He goes to embrace Mina.
500 years.
Mina, your hand.
The mark has disappeared.
Arthur collapses.
Arthur?
He dead? Yes, my boy. Dracula is truly dead.
Then I've done the one thing I've lived for.
Arthur dies.
The evil is finished.
End of scene 5.
July 1904. 7 years ago, we all went through hell, but our success was well worth the pain we endured. It is an added joy to Mina and to me that our son was born a year to the day after Arthur died. We hope that
some of our friend's spirit has passed into him. In the summer of this year, we made a journey to Transylvania and went over the old ground, which is so full of terrible memories. Our only proofs are a collection of journal entries and letters. We could hardly ask anyone to believe such a story. As Van Helsing said, we want no proofs. It is enough that we know what we have been through. And so I leave my own account here in the place where even the dust of Count Dracula has been scattered to the winds. Jonathan Harker.
She closes the book, then carefully replaces it where she found it.
Aren't you going to take it?
Jonathan left it here for a reason, and we should leave this place in peace.
They exit the room and walk down the stairs.
Pretty far-fetched story.
They head for the door. Mitch comes back in.
Oh, wait, I forgot my backpack.
Mitch goes to the pile of rubble, picks up his pack, and starts to put it on. Mitch starts to leave when a vampire woman lunges from the shadows, grabs him, and pulls him back screaming into the darkness. The end. Thank you so much for attending. And now for the cast of Dracula.
Hi, my name is Irby. I play Mitch, and my favorite vampire movie is The Little Vampire the Disney original.
Hi, my name is Skylar. I play Skip, and I don't really have a favorite vampire movie.
Hello, my name is Violet Joy Hansen. I played Chelsea, and The Vampire Diaries is one of my favorite shows.
Hi, I'm Vicki Victoria, and I played the Shrouded woman, one of Dracula's wives. And my favorite vampire movie is Taika Waititi's What We Do in the Shadows.
Hello, my name is Monika Milani. I play the Rotting Woman, and my favorite vampire movie is also What We Do in the Shadows, but also Twilight. Oops.
Hi, my name is Barbara Reynolds. I play the Pale Woman, and my favorite vampire show, for many campy reasons, is the Broadway musical Lestat.
Hi, my name is Barbara Henninger. My video won't go on. I played Tom Snelling. There we go. And I don't like horror movies or vampire movies.
Hi, my name is Ronnie Mishra. I play Sam Bloxham. And my favorite vampire movie, movie featuring a vampire is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Noel Medeiros. I played Mrs. Martin, or Mrs. Morris, sorry. My favorite vampire movie is Van Helsing.
Hey, I'm Sabrina Sonner. I played Dr. Jack Seward, and my favorite vampire show is Buffy.
Hello, my name is Valerie Valenzuela. I play Lucy Westenra, and I am a big fat wimp, so I don't have a favorite vampire movie.
Hi, I'm Anthony James Rummel, and I'm very happy to have played Arthur Holmwood. My favorite vampire movie is Dracula with Christopher Lee.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Garcia. I played R.M. Renfield, and in my family, we grew up reciting Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Hi, my name is Justin P. Lopez, and I play Jonathan Harker. And my favorite vampire movie is What We Do in the Shadows.
Hi, I'm Laura Domingo. I play Mina Murray, and Werewolves Not Swearwolves. My favorite vampire movie is also What We Do in the Shadows.
Hi, I'm Dory Charnsupharindr, and I play Van Helsing. So my favorite movie, you guessed it, Van Helsing. No, just kidding. Interview with the Vampire.
Hi, I'm Ali Suleman. I played Count Dracula, and my favorite vampire movie is Hotel Transylvania.
Hi, my name is Mitch Truong, and I'm the narrator, and my favorite vampire movie is Blade.
Hello, I'm Dave Leon. I'm the director, and I have a lot of favorite vampire movies, but one of my absolute favorites is Love at First Bite.
Hi, I'm in the dark. I'm Carla. I'm the stage manager. Thanks all for coming. I'm also a wimp and I don't really like horror movies, but I sure do like the Count from Sesame Street. Thanks for being here. We're going to do a little Q&A. Yeah, Sarah?
Yes, we are. Thank you all for coming. And my audience, if you feel like unmuting yourself, now you have the chance and you can applaud if you would. We thank you so much for being the best behaved audience we've had. So well done. And yay, same to our YouTube group. It was great having you guys over there as well. So if there is any questions for our cast, feel free to either jump in, if you can interrupt me, that's fine. Or just type into the chat. And I already see that we have a question for Carla from Lisa, wondering about the sound effects. Tell us a little bit about the sound effects. Is that tricky?
A little tricky. There's a second system that I'm running at the same time while reading a script and watching the show, trying to get them in. We have a great team put together that sourced all the sound effects. Stan Singletary. I had a great helper, Dallas Carter, got me set up with a system called OBS. But it's a lot of fun to get my cues in, just like the real deal.
The sound effects have been a wonderful addition, and a huge thank you to Dan Singletary, who is our resident sound designer, for stepping in and helping make that happen. So in the same, I will give a shout out. I see someone else commented just about the hair and makeup. So these, we had Gwyneth Price Panos gave me some early on consultant on the makeup, but all of our performers were able to do their own hair, their own makeup, their own special effects. So we're grateful for you guys. The teeth proved to be rather tricky, and So our Dracula, for those of you who didn't catch my comment earlier, is actually performing in Barbados. And the box that I sent him with all of the costumes and props, it didn't make it there in time. So Ali, talk a little bit about what you've got going on.
Oh, I had to improv real quick because I knew from the beginning, I was like, okay, there's no way a package is getting here in 2 weeks. Like with all this going on, there's no way. So I looked up some YouTube videos, thank goodness for YouTube. And I got some fake press-on nails, and I got this, it's here somewhere. It's a tube of Fixodent. It's like denture adhesive. And I put that onto my mouth.
Oh. The Lee press or the press-on nails is the one that I'm super impressed with. We have a question from Sheila. How did you all coordinate the cues with the stakes through the heart and so on?
Val maybe wants to pick that up, or no?
I'm coming. I'm sorry. I was trying to find the mute button. There's just so many screens now. Hi, there's a hilarious lisp, isn't there? Actually, goodness, I think it was just timing. There's a lot of action scenes. God, this is ridiculous keeping these on to talk. But I really listen to Mitch a lot. Mitch, our narrator. So there are a number of things where it's like throw the chair or like get stabbed by blah blah. I'm actually, Mitch is like my guiding light in the show because I'm listening so hard to everything that Mitch says, and I'm basically reacting off of that, as well as like, you know, the things going on in the scene and stuff. But I guess it was a very brief trial and error with the stake through the body.
Yeah, if one of the biggest challenges is getting all of the props to everybody. So it does start from the director and myself kind of putting together things. I don't know if I want to spoil all of my secrets, but you know, we have Sabrina early on in the rehearsal process went down to LA. So it was one of these, okay, let's put it all together, give it to her. She's running down there. And other than that, we've got a small crew who are now willing to drive around and drop off props and costumes, which has been wonderful. Wonderful, helpful. Yay, that narrator was popping. I think, yes, props. That is the narrator reading the stage directions is one of the most challenging aspects of the show, to keep the energy moving, the energy flowing, and filling in all of the gaps. Mitch, do you want to talk a little bit about being the narrator?
Sure, it was tough because I definitely had to hold the energy up, but it was a lot of fun being able to drive the story forward. Thank you.
So real quick question for Renfield, for Benny. Who did you study to get that intense character? Great job. I would agree.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Renfield is such a iconic character, and I've seen and loved so many versions of him that I purposefully just didn't study anybody, because they're just so in there. They're just so in there that they're gonna come out, and I didn't want one particular one or doing an impression, so it's just me.
Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Benny. Oh, there was a question too from somebody, I lost it. From Brennan. If Dracula wanted to turn any of the men in the cast, who would he bite and why?
Van Helsing, Doy, because he's a stud.
Definitely true. Definitely true. Great. So otherwise, if anybody else has got any questions, please feel free to jump in. We're so grateful that everybody joined us tonight. And I will let you know that we have a ton of programs coming up in November and December. Those are now live on our Facebook, or I'm sorry, on our webpage, the East Studio webpage. You can sign up for more programs. We do try to keep these free for everybody in the community, to keep just everybody engaged, enlightened, entertained, and together. We love the fact that our reach is expanding immensely in this new virtual world. And so we're so grateful that you're here. We're also incredibly grateful for all our sustaining donors who have provided us the financial support to keep going over the past 6 months and beyond into the future. So if you do, many of you already donated tonight and we're super grateful. If you have a moment and wanted to donate again, I am putting that right into the chat. You can, any amount is appreciated because together it really does make a huge difference in our longevity and our ability to kind of ride this wave. Oh, Joe Kelly has a question for Dave before we log off. Dave, what is it like to direct virtually?
Joe Kelly, I know that guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
What is it like to direct virtually? You know, it's so different and yet so similar. It's different, obviously, because of the venue that you're using and the method to which you are getting the show out to the audience. But actors are actors, man, and that doesn't change. You know, they still want to give the best performance they possibly can, no matter what the venue is, whether you're in a theater or on Zoom. And as a matter of fact, I think Zoom affords people the opportunity to play even a little more, because you can really go all out. I mean, as you saw with all the blood work and the fangs and you know, the costumes and everything else, it is something very special to be able to do it this way with this kind of story. I think it lends itself well to this. So directing virtually is a lot less time intensive, but no less rewarding.
And definitely filled with tons of challenges.
There are, but they're bumps in the road that are easy to smooth out.
And then there's the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did mean to say that. We did have understudies standing by for all of the roles, just in case there were things out of our control that we couldn't manage. It is live theater.
Like Comcast accidentally cutting line.
Yes.
God.
Hypothetically.
Two of us didn't have any internet all day, so we were working off hotspots tonight.
And it worked.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
That's right. But we start tomorrow at 7, my friends. Please don't forget that. Tell your friends.
Feel free to spreading the word. Oh, any upcoming shows that people want to promote? Cast, are you guys doing anything? What's up? What's next? What's coming up? Something.
There's this election.
I voted today.
Woohoo! Everybody else should vote too.
Yeah,
vote.
I need my cross.
Yeah.
It's the hip thing to do in Halloween.
If anyone wants to see more Zoom theater the weekend after next, I'm working with a different Zoom theater company called Zoom Theater, and we are putting on a play called Collective Rage. It's very different from this one. It's very women and women power and all of that. I'm excited to work on that after I'm done with this. So I'm sure you'll see it floating around on Facebook somewhere. Go look for it. Google Zoom Theater Collective Rage if you'd like to see more theater like this. I am not in the cast. I am backstage doing something very similar to what Carla did for this show.
As the technology expands, we're really finding that there's a lot more that people have been doing out there. I've started to get involved with some Zoom theater Facebook groups and people with multiple cameras and different angles. So you never know what might be coming in the future here at SBMT. So I'm going to say good night one last time. Thank you all so much for coming, cast. Well done. You are darlings. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Everybody else, you of course are welcome to come back tomorrow too, both on Facebook and through the magic of Zoom. I'm sorry, YouTube. We're streaming on YouTube this time. I'm going to hang out for a little while longer, you guys, but please feel free to talk amongst yourselves or hit the road, whatever you need to do. And I'm shutting down YouTube.
After party is a good question.
After party.
Colin, the after party is your house, buddy.
My house? Y'all gonna fly here?
No, Colin. He's a coworker.
Is he on right now? Colin.
Yeah,
Colin should come back tomorrow.
He and Jennifer are watching.
No, I'm just kidding.